Okay, well, good evening and welcome to the Krannert MBA Master's Program webinar. The subject for this evening is launching your career. We have 4 great current MBA students here to answer your questions. So we will start. My name is Susie Sabernick. I'm the Assistant Director of Recruiting here at the program. And I'll let students introduce themselves. So, Mark?
Okay, I'm Mark Shelton. I'm a second-year MBA student here, concentrating in operations and supply chain management.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm a second-year MBA with an HR focus, and I'm originally from California.
Hi, my name is Sam. I'm a second-year MBA student focused in marketing and finance, and I'm from Thailand.
And hi, my name is Priyanka. I'm a first-year student in operations and strategy, and I'm originally from Florida.
Great. So again, we'd like to welcome everyone to the chat. These are some of the topics that we'll be covering, and please, if you have questions, type them in and we'll be happy to answer questions for you. If you do have questions on unrelated topics, we're happy to answer those as well. So launching your career, we'll talk first about the Krannert Professional Development Center, which is the office here on campus that works to bring companies to campus for job placement. They'll work with you on your resume, interviewing skills, those types of things. We'll talk about on-campus recruiting. Many of our students attend national fairs where they are successful in finding internships as well as full-time positions. We'll talk about the summer internship experience. So almost all of our students participate in typically a 10 to 12-week internship during the summer. The TBS internship is kind of a special one, so we'll talk a little bit about that, and then also City Trek. So we'll start out with the Krannert Professional Development Center. So would one of you maybe just like to start talking about your experience with KPDC and how they've helped you?
Sure, I'll start. It's been, KPDC's been really great to work with. Everyone there is very willing to help and share their experiences. We've got, I think, six full-time people on staff there. Some of them are retired professionals who've been in industry for 20 or 30 years and have a lot of experience. And they help you with everything from your resume to mock interviews. I got a couple of those last year, which were really helpful, and I definitely would not have had the skills or abilities really to land my internship and now my full-time job without the help from KPDC. So I just want to say just kind of how awesome they are.
From my perspective, as a first year, KPDC has been wonderful. They've been very helpful right from the start. You actually get a chance to work with them over the summer in reviewing your resume, and cleaning it up and making it sound very professional and really helping yourself shine out what your true abilities are. And then they continue to be around and always asking you questions, wanting to support you, wanting to help you, and trying to almost challenge you and think outside the box as to what you want to do with your career. They've helped me tremendously. I meet with my
Built on what Priyanka has just mentioned, in the perspective of international students, they are very proactive. They want to help you. Like the school assigned a career advisor even before I got into the campus. So we set the meeting via Skype, and he actually helped me craft my resume, train me on how to interview in the U.S., and even this all finished even before I got into the U.S. So I really impressed on how they how they're being very proactive, and you can ask for help anytime you want. As Priyanka just mentioned, you can send email, ask for appointment, and every time that you want to have.
Anybody else? Review? I'm going to talk a little bit about like how they help out with career fairs and what coffee hours are.
Yeah, I'll kind of speak about career fairs. One of the really cool things that the KPDC helped us with was there was a representative from KPDC who went to the National Black MBA Career Fair in Houston, and one of the real cool things that she did was she had probably at least 100 little P pins that you could put on your lapel. So she handed those out not only to us as students, but also to a lot of alumni who were there representing their companies. So as you walk through this maze of hundreds of companies and thousands of thousands of MBA students looking for jobs, it was really, you could instantly make a connection with a recruiter if you just saw that they had a P pin on their lapel. You knew that they were a Boilermaker and someone who might not be a familiar face, but someone who would definitely help you out and want to talk to you. And that was a really cool thing that they did, because that was down in Houston. That wasn't anything local. That was something where they really went out of their way to really help us and be a resource for us.
Well, they did that, and then she would also email out to all of us if she heard about a job or somebody's looking specifically for an MBA or a Purdue MBA. So she would email, Facebook, tweet out to anybody who was at the conference. You can go into that booth and give us additional information. On a different note, on a one-on-one basis with the KPDC office, just interactions with them. They got to know me, my skill sets. A couple of the companies came in. A couple for coffee hour. So what coffee hour is companies will come in and sponsor coffee. You can talk to the professionals. They can talk to students. You can bring resumes. You figure out if you can have an internship with them. You'll find more about their company. It's just a way to get a better connection with the professionals. And through one of those, I was able to secure one of my internship, and then eventually my full-time offer. So they do a lot of outreach to the students and make sure that everybody has enough connections, and they're always fully invested in what you were doing.
Great. Okay, we're getting some questions. Okay. We'll go ahead and move on to, if you want to talk about national fairs, Mark, you mentioned a little bit, but maybe the different national fairs that students attend, what it means to go to a national fair, who can go to the fairs, and what happens there.
Sure. I mentioned the National Black MBA Career Fair. There's a couple of associations that hold national MBA career fairs, and those are open to MBA students from anywhere across the country. Last year's first years, we got spoiled because it was in Indianapolis, which was really nice for us. This past September, it was down in Houston, which was a little bit farther away, so not as convenient, but there's probably not thousands, a couple hundred companies from all across the country looking for MBAs, for internships, for full-time people coming on. And it's a great opportunity to meet 20, 30, however many companies you really want to over the span of a couple days. They have interviews on site there. So it's just a great opportunity to meet with a lot of recruiters and in a very efficient and timely manner. And so there's the National Black MBA Fair, National Asian, I think National Hispanic, and it doesn't matter where you're from or who you are, you're welcome at any of those career fairs, and it's just such a great way to meet with so many companies.
Okay. We have another question. Can you share something on focus towards marketing and consulting career choices with Purdue?
All right. For the marketing, our school has a lot of opportunities if you are interested in marketing. We have marketing club. We have several focus in marketing, like brand management, or we also have a lot of quantitative class that is related to marketing focus, like pricing strategy, which our school is very strong and well known in terms of quantitative classes. And as you also are aware that our school is very famous in engineering, there are a lot of chances and opportunities that when the engineering school want to come up with the products, and then they want to put the products out there. They connect to our school and find some marketing-focused students to come and conduct the project to help them promoting those products and everything. So it's quite a broad range opportunity that you can get not only inside of the classroom. We also have it's like both marketing and also consulting. We have ELI project is an experiential learning initiative. So if you are marketing focused and then you want to do a project that is directly related to marketing, you can tell the professor that you want to team up with your classmate and you want to focus on marketing project, and it could be done.
And in terms of consulting, the Purdue University Consulting Club is actually probably one of the bigger club organizations that Krannert has, because it involves not only graduate students but the undergrad as well. And they have done a lot of things, and one of the new programs that they've implemented is having older or second year students help coach some of the first year students through the case interviews, because case interviews are very big with consulting interviews and are very prevalent, especially right now. And so what they do is they partner you up with a coach or a mentor, and you work heavily with them to get more of those answers. A lot of consulting companies do come to Purdue. I know there were a few in the fall, and there's a lot more in the spring. Typically, they are searching for the full-time intern. They're looking for full-time candidates. So you have a heavier full-time recruitment. But internships, it's practicing with case interviews. It takes a lot of time. So having the resources here available to do so, and also your courses kind of help you think critically, so it's able to help you prepare for consulting career opportunities as well.
Just one more note on that, on what Priyanka was saying, that we've had this year, there were multiple students who got offers from Deloitte, from A.T. Kearney. There's even a student who's going to go to work for McKinsey after graduation. So this is really, Purdue's really starting to build a reputation for a place where consulting companies want to come to look for full-time students.
And just to build again on Mark's point, now if you think about all the second years that have now gotten all these consulting jobs, they're going to be alumni. So soon we're going to be broadening our alumni base within the consulting field as well.
Great. Okay, next question is, when do the career fairs generally take place? Is it during breaks between the semesters?
No, actually, most of the career fairs, or the high volume of the career fairs, will happen within your first module here at Krannert. So we have about 3, I believe, within the first mod, and then right at your fall break, there's generally, I think it's the National Hispanic is right before, and then the Women International is right during your fall break. So within your first 8 to 10 weeks of school, the vast majority of these career fairs will be happening. But also note that anytime you can go to any sort of conference, you can also have a job fairs associated with those as well. So there's other job fairs throughout the year that you can go to.
Next question, when are you first introduced to your advisor in KPDC?
For me, after I got accepted, they assigned advisor to me. I cannot remember exactly, probably a couple of weeks after that. So the advisor emailed me and say that, hi, this is Mr. So-and-so. I will be your career advisor for the whole first year. So now I would want you to work on the resume with me, and this is like the template that we want you to look at and think about. So after I have my resume drafted, we had, as I said, we had the Skype appointment. And then we talked through all the resume. You know, he critiqued my resume, you know, what words, what you need to improve, and something like that. So I believe I talked to him for a couple of months before I got into the U.S. So it's even the term start. Yeah. Before the term started. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, next question. And you talked a little bit about this already, but what are the top employers for consulting and supply chain focus?
Okay. Yeah, like Sue said, we did mention some of the consulting employers, Deloitte, A.T. Kearney. As far as supply chain goes, Shell takes a couple of people every year. Raytheon always comes to our career fair here. They usually take a couple of people. We've had General Electric take a couple of people from in our supply chain. Hillshire Farms has taken a couple of people in our class. I'm actually going to Nestle Purina in a supply chain role.
Amazon.
Amazon takes a lot of operations interns and full-time people, such as Priyanka. So there's a lot of, those are just some of them. Any others coming to mind?
We have Exxon comes, you talked about Shell.
Yeah. Bank of America.
Bank of America,
yeah.
Phillips 66. A large variety of companies and a large variety of industries do come and take our supply chain and ops people.
Okay, next question. I saw the National Hispanic MBA Career Fair in San Antonio, Texas. Do the students interested in seeking a job in Texas need to go to San Antonio? So maybe speak about, you know, if you went to a national fair, maybe where you would be placed.
The national fair doesn't necessarily mean that's the general location of where you're going to be. Certainly a lot of the smaller companies that don't want to make the transport, pay for the transportation costs to go to the larger fairs, if they're in their neighborhood, they'll go. So you'll have more, for this particular one, a lot more Texan companies or Texas-based companies will go to that specific fair. However, so for example, when I went to the National Black, which was in Houston, I interviewed with Chevron, but my position wouldn't necessarily be in the Houston office. It could have been in anywhere in California or any of their other offices, because a lot of the companies come are the large corporations and they're seeking this vast knowledge, and you could be thrown anywhere in the country.
Okay, next question. How do summer internships work along with the semesters? So we can go ahead and we'll move to that slide. So do you want to talk about maybe the process of interviewing and getting the summer internship, and especially for our second-year students, kind of how that process works of moving to a new location? And
yeah, I can start off from your first year, kind of how the whole getting a summer internship process, how you start out. Well, as first, as Sam mentioned, you start working on the career development side on your resume and learning how to do mock interviews. With the KPDC, you do mock interviews, so you get that experience and that feedback on how you interview, how you interview with any company in the U.S. And then we also have a mock career fair where the second-year students, which will be me next year, the second-year students will interview you, and they will represent the companies that they interned with over the summer and will ask you questions that they believe are depictive of what the company would have asked you. And then there's a lot going on with schoolwork at the time that you start doing all these interviews. You will have scenarios where you have an exam or you have an interview, but Krannert professors are extremely understanding about your interview. They understand that you come, to get a job, to find the internship, and engage in your career search process. So in terms of the job search and the schoolwork, that will have to be done like hand in hand, and you'll have to organize and get scheduled, but it's definitely possible because everybody here has done it and everyone here has gone through it. And then in terms of how does it align with working along with the semester, your internship starts after the first year. So you won't have to worry about starting your internship while you're still in classes. The internships have start dates that start after your courses end, and they'll have different choices that you can choose, and the second years can tell you more about that.
Well, actually, Priyanka, I was actually a little bit of so I actually started, my internship ended a week into classes this year. So I had emailed my professors beforehand and let them know my situation and what was going on, and they were very accepting. You just have to make sure that you keep up with your work, and your first day of classes, you find out your friends or individuals who are in your classes get into groups. And so the last week of my internship, I was still doing my internship and starting my classes. So it's a little bit of a balancing act. So it is still a potential. If they had one that goes a week, 2 weeks into classes, you can still manage it. So just
good clarification.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Good? Okay. All right. Next question. Is there an opportunity for a first-year student to form or establish a new club or student association?
Priyanka.
Absolutely. There is absolutely an opportunity to do that. Actually, my class, we started something known as the Language Club, and we have become official as of last month. This actually came about when a lot of our students are international, and a lot of us wanted to learn some of these languages and have these different opportunities. And also, some of the international students wanted to improve their English and get that opportunity to really delve into the American culture and really understand what it's like. So that's been successful. The KGSA, which is Krannert Graduate Student Association, they are very supportive of any club or opportunity. If there's an interest and there's no club that you can find to support it within Krannert, then yeah, definitely go ahead and create it. And right now, like in our language club, we have structured classes, and then we do movie nights, and it's going great so far.
Okay, next question. Are there some clubs or treks for the Latin market or candidates who have worked in international market other than their home country? Why don't we chat for a quick minute about city treks? These are city treks that we have in the U.S. Typically, city treks are done locally within a few hours drive. So Indianapolis, Chicago. There's actually one tomorrow, Friday, to Columbus, Ohio. And then there's typically a week-long city trek to a city within the United States over what's called Global Week, which is the week before spring break. And so this year that trip is going to Houston. For Latin America, there is a new study abroad opportunity this year to Latin America. Students will have the opportunity to spend a week in Santiago and a week in Rio de Janeiro. And are any of you?
I'm going to Rio.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about things you're going to be doing.
Yeah. Well, with Rio, this is one of the newer programs, so they've been releasing their itinerary, and I don't remember some of the names of the companies, but I know we'll be networking with a lot of different businesses in Brazil, and we have a separate one each week, and get the opportunity to kind of see a little bit of the World Cup, and not see the World Cup, but we'll be there too early, but talk to some of the struggles that they've had in working to establish some of the facilities and buildings and rules and regulations and having people there. So Rio is going to be a good time.
Sorry to go off the rest of that question. We do have a Krannert Latin American club here that's very strong and very prevalent. We also have several MBA students who are from Brazil, and we have Argentina, we have Venezuela. We have a large student population from Latin America and South America.
Okay. I've researched that operations and supply chain management are the strengths of Krannert. What is the scope for strategic management career? And Purdue has a great base of brilliant professors in strategy. Thank you for that. Okay, so what about strategic management? Any of you?
I just started taking some of the strategy courses. The professors are absolutely brilliant. There's two of them right now that split the different sections for the first years, and I've only heard good things about the other professor, and I can tell you all the great things about mine. They really encourage you to think outside the box, and strategy usually has this tendency to be associated with a lot of fluff, but they actually tell you that in the first week that it has that association, but then they show you how concrete of a subject it actually is, and you do a lot of casework. All your courses are actually based on cases, and they kind of help you analyze and help you think strategically about each of these cases and companies and what they could have done, what they would have done. And what I think I enjoy most about some of the strategy classes is they'll give you a case, you solve your problem, and then at the end of the class, they'll hand you a paper that actually has a solution to what the case was, and then you can sit and analyze. So you kind of get the full exposure to applying strategy in a professional setting.
Okay, great. Next question. Are there chances to assist professors on their thesis or research papers?
I believe there's one student who's a second year. I wouldn't say he's assisting, but I know he got so interested that he's doing a PhD in operations management. So I'm sure he must have networked with one of the professors in operations to get that.
Yes, there are a couple of second year students who are looking to pursue their PhD. So I'm not, and I know they're doing, and there's a few others who are actually doing independent study courses with professors in a specific area. Now, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the scope of those projects, but they're definitely working with professors, doing some research and going and going in that direction. So there are those opportunities available.
Good. Next question. If you can comment, I come from a science background, and I'm curious as to what big pharma companies typically deal with Purdue.
Which ones specifically? So we have Eli Lilly comes, we have Roche come, what else comes? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank right here. We have several large pharmaceutical companies that come, and generally any of the career fairs that you go to will have a large volume of pharmaceutical companies that will give you exposure. I used to work in the biotech industry, as closely associated with the pharma industry, so there has been a lot of times where I've been able to show people my resume, and a lot of companies have been attracted to that because it's related to that industry. So if that's one of your concerns, we definitely have the ability to come here or to assist you to get back into that industry.
Okay. The next question, are MS program students eligible to join national fairs and other benefits at Krannert as an MBA student? Not sure if I understand the question, but any of our students are eligible to go to the national fairs. It's just a matter of working it out with your professors. If transportation there and back, I know a lot of students, split cost as far as hotel rooms and things like that. Other benefits of being a Krannert MBA student, I think Mark touched on that a little bit. When you go to those fairs and you wear that Purdue pin, the recruiters recognize that P, and so they're typically very happy to have students come up to their table and talk to them. So I think that's a big advantage of being a Krannert student. So if that didn't answer your question fully, please let us know. Next question, could you talk about Krannert's focus in terms of technology, such as the Bike Club, and electives such as technology strategy, Eli projects focused on technology? Any of you invite? No?
No.
I'm not in BITE, but one of the classes that we're taking right now is Management Information Systems, and it's a great class. Really motivates you to think kind of outside the box, but as far as technology goes, that's all I...
Yeah, I know the Bike Club is pretty active, and I know that they've held roundtable discussion panels with entrepreneurs and brought in people from the Purdue Research Park, and brought in a couple entrepreneurs who've had startups in technology before. So they're very involved with that. There's a lot of people here who come from a tech background, and while they're getting their MBA, still want to stay in touch with technology companies and want to go and work in technology afterwards. So there's definitely opportunities available here.
Can you think off the top of your head any Eli projects that students may have worked on for a tech-focused company? I can't.
I know we've done them. I've had several friends who've mentioned them. I just can't. So many students go through an Eli project, and there's so many wonderful opportunities with Eli projects. It's hard to remember each and every single one. I apologize. They are out there. We will have a technology one in every single Eli.
I'm sure we have a lot of tech companies, including startups. As Mark mentioned, that we have Research Park over there. I actually involved in Student Managed Venture Fund project, which is they have, because Purdue have a lot of patents that belong to us, and they want to commercialize those projects. So I get involved in Research Park projects and then help them do the due diligence, whether Purdue should fund them and get them started on their technology. So I would say there are plenty of chances that you could deal with technology, both big firms and startups in Purdue.
Okay, what is the trickiest subject you have come across in a finance concentration? So I don't think any of you are finance concentrations, but maybe talk about your finance classes.
I myself take several finance classes, and it's a whole new thing for me because I came from engineering background and I've never studied anything related to finance before. And to be honest, I'm very impressed with the finance professors in Purdue. As Priyanka has said, everyone tried to, make you think outside of the box. I know one first-year student who came from finance major. He said that he never think outside of the box this much before when he was in undergrad compared to the class in MBA. Because the way that we have the study method that we have in the class based on case. And as Priyanka mentioned, you are encouraged to think about this real situation before you come to class, and you were assigned to have your teammates who come from different backgrounds. They're going to encourage you to think differently, even in a certain subjects or classes like finance. Then you would try to think outside of the box in every perspective. And when you come to class, the professor would actually they're not going to do all the lecturing, but they're going to encourage you to think. Why do you think it's that way? So with this number, what that or this number means to you, that's kind of thing. So it's encouraged me to want to know and learn more. So that's one of the reasons why I take a lot of finance classes.
Good. Okay. Next question. Are students trying to secure internships between their first and second years or typically once they have graduated?
Internships are typically between the end of your first year and the beginning of your second year. As we had mentioned, they're 10 to 12 weeks. You can find them domestically more commonly, but you can also have international internships as well. Sam actually went back home and had an internship back home. I had a telecommuting, like a commuting one with Canada. So I worked in the U.S. and flew back and forth to Canada. So it's an opportunity to work. You can get internships after you graduate, but generally it's more common for you to just jump right into the workforce.
Okay. Will classes be held along with full-time MBA students with the one-year STEM MBA program during the course curriculum? Yes, so for students who are coming into the one-year STEM MBA, those students will actually start in the summer and they'll do a summer module and they'll be doing the core courses during the summer module. But then during the fall and spring semester, students will be mixed together in a lot of classes, so it just depends on what class you're taking. Our MBA students take courses along with our MS Human Resource Management major or students, the STEM students. There may be MS Finance students in their class. So our students are somewhat intermixed as far as the course. It just depends on what program you're in, what concentration you're in, depending on who you'll have class with. But yes, the STEM MBA students will be intermixed with our full-time MBA students. Okay, apart from internships, are there chances to work on live projects?
Yes, that's a great question. You might have heard us talk about ELI projects in this conversation. Those are experiential learning initiative projects. So during your course here, you've got the time to work with 2 or 3 other students in the MBA program or in one of the master's programs, and you get to work with a company, with a real company on a real project that actually impacts them. So you'll get to meet with company representatives. They'll give you some information, and it's a real-time consulting project. And it's a great opportunity for students to make connections with companies outside of Krannert, and that's led to many students receiving internships or full-time jobs as well. So it's a great opportunity for anyone, but particularly if you're someone coming in without a whole lot of full-time work experience, that's you can get a great project to put on your resume and really beef up your work experience.
Okay. Okay. For Priyanka, what are the languages being taught in the club now?
The languages that we have now are English and Chinese, Japanese, Korean, I think for a while, Portuguese, French, German, Spanish, and I think there's one more, oh, Arabic.
Wow.
Yeah, we haven't had a Hindi volunteer yet, but there's plenty of those that we could find. Yeah.
Okay, another question. Hi Priyanka, I'm an amateur astronomer and would be really lucky to be a founder of Krannert Astronomy Club, which would be one of a kind club for a business school. Your experience is motivating as I will get to learn the complete process from conception to actual involvement of people and required procedures. Thank you. Okay, do you have any exchange programs with other universities, with Asian universities, to spend one semester there? Not with Asian universities, but we do have a new agreement with Reutlingen University, which is in Hanover, Germany. And so students will have the opportunity to spend module 8, final module of the semester there. So they'll be starting classes this year on March 10th, and they will finish on May 2nd. I have the dates right. And the way Reutlingen works, students will take one class for a 2-week period. Students can take up to 9 credit hours, and they'll have a 2-week break there. The university has 2 weeks off around Easter, so they'll have the opportunity to travel around Europe or do what they would like to do during that 2-week time frame. So that is a new program for us. We did have a program with a different university in Germany, which is called GISMA, and Lauren had an opportunity to go there, so I'll let her speak about her experience there.
So I was able to do that last year in my Mod 4, and it was probably been one of my favorite experiences here at Krannert itself. So just like at Reutlingen, I can't pronounce that correctly, pardon me, we had 2-week classes. So what we were able to do is we would work Monday through Thursday, get all of our homework done, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just hop on a random train and go somewhere random in Europe. It was incredibly awesome, one of my best experiences of my life. But you get to work with students from, just like here in Krannert, from all over the world. If you have any sort of German background, it's a fabulous way to work on your German, even your French or any other sort of European languages. It's phenomenal. It's a big community. It's a really great way to get that also international exposure if you don't have that yet, or additional international exposure if you already do. But again, I highly recommend it. It was so much fun.
Okay. Is the Global Week applicable to one-year STEM MBA program as well? I believe yes. The STEM MBA students will have the opportunity to participate in Global Week as well as spring break, the overseas trips. This coming year is going to be our first year for the STEM program, so a lot of things are still new, but I believe that students will have the opportunity to go on those trips. Okay, I also read about city treks. Are they some sort of business fun tours or just relaxing summer tours?
Oh no, they're business oriented. So you can go to several different places. So the ones that I've been on, I went to Amazon and GE, and when you go there, you immediately walk in, they give you a mini presentation on the company, about their culture, and then you do a tour of the facility. Depending on what the company is or what they want to teach you, you could also do interactive things, you can meet other people, you can break off into teams. It's a really great way to get a lot of information about one company with the professionals directly within one day. So we have our city treks, big ones to Chicago. We have Columbus on Friday. And for those, you can go to multiple companies within one day, and then we'll have a networking session at night with some of those professionals. So it's a really good way, again, to connect with a lot of people. It is a lot of fun, too, because you're with your peers, or again, if you're in MBA school, you're probably a little bit of a business geek. So it's kind of a little bit like a business high at the end of the day, at least for me. So I love them.
They're great, and And yes, they have the city treks, like the big ones where they actually go to Chicago or they go to Columbus and they have like a whole day planned for you. And then sometimes a lot of the clubs will do like company city treks. So I know I've been on Caterpillar, and then coming up next week is a separate trip to Cisco. So this will be where a club or any organization, they'll set this up on their own and kind of help you get their network there. And I know something that I think I really value about the city treks is when you think about it, when you work for one company, you only see whatever that one company has, and you don't get access to see what other companies have. But being able to go on these city treks, you get to take your own experiences and then also see, okay, well, for me, like I come from an engineering background as well, being able to see how Caterpillar manufactures some of its heavy-duty machinery, I'm kind of a geek about that stuff, so that was really interesting for me as well. So yeah, city treks are great. They're ongoing. They're the big ones, and then there's the small ones too. So, and of course, they're always fun because you learn a lot, and then they're also fun because you're with your friends.
That's right. Because as Priyanka mentioned, some clubs is going extra mile to make sure that the club member would get experience from or city trek. Like the upcoming one is the city trek that will for finance club that will be happening in New York. So we're going to New York, and I already signed up for that. So we're going to New York this spring break to visit a lot of huge financial firm like Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, Royal Bank of Scotland, and a lot of firms that you wouldn't get a chance to talk to the company, and you meet Purdue alumni who work in those firms if you wouldn't go to the company trek or city trek.
Okay, what are the possibilities of a one-year MBA to continue management education ahead? As in, can someone switch from the one-year MBA to a two-year MBA after joining? I am going to say most likely no for that, because with the one-year MBA program, students are taking those core classes in the summer, and so you're on a different curriculum. So really the idea of that one-year program is for students to be able to complete their MBA in 1 year and graduate and go on into the workforce, where with the two-year MBA, students are able to do their summer internship, they're able to do an area of concentration. So a lot of students in the two-year MBA program are career changers, so they're getting that focus. Okay, I want to know about Eli.
Okay. So I did an Eli project last year, and I ended up doing it with a company internationally, and that was, again, a really good experience in itself. So what you do is you sign up to be a part of the program itself, and then you get together with a bunch of your friends or colleagues, you find great ways, or students who complement each other, and then a company will come and give a mini presentation about the project that they have. Now, it could be like a local project, it could be an international project, it can be a domestic project. It's up to the companies themselves. So it could be marketing, finance, HR, it could be anything. So what you do is then you submit an application, and then the company will then select you to be part of this project. So you're already selected by the company, you're not assigned, so they already want you there, which really helps with your overall project itself, which is personal preference or personal belief. So it's really great, and then you get to work a semester long. You get to contact the company every week to 2 weeks. You work on many projects with them in one giant overall project, and then you do a midterm presentation to them and a final presentation. And it could be, like I said, anything from finance. I did a sustainability and an operations project. It could be a reorganization of the company. It could be absolutely anything. It's a really good experience. If you do get into Krannert, it's something that I would highly, highly, highly recommend to do.
Okay, if you are a career changer, how challenging is it when you start your job search in a completely different industry? How does past work experience help? Your fingers.
I can take this one. I probably have the most odd background maybe of students in here. I went to undergrad to be a teacher, and so I majored in history. I taught for a year, and then I realized this education wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I was able to get some business work experience for a year before applying to business school, and it was a bit of a challenge at first to get an internship, but you really work with KPDC here to show how your skills are transferable from the experience you do have and from your education to what companies are really looking for. And I was diligent and got an internship and got great experience over the summer. And then it was really cool for me to come back and talk with companies this year and get more interviews with companies this year than with companies that didn't even want to talk to me last year. So there are a lot of career changers here. It can be a bit more difficult to do that than if you have a business background, but it's certainly not impossible. I've told a lot of first year students this year that I was a history major, and if I can do this, you can too.
Yeah, definitely building off Mark's point, like if you want to do it, you can totally do it. It's not impossible at all. Obviously, there's going to be a learning curve with no matter what industry that you decide to change with. But that's where the internship really becomes key for you to kind of utilize your time here to pick the right internship that you think, and then use that as if I like this internship, this is probably what I'm going to do. Or, you know what, I didn't like it, and I'm going to go look for something else. So the opportunities are endless.
I totally agree with Mark and Priyanka. It's very challenging. You have to work harder than the others if you want to shift your career, because if you have the background and your resume attract the employers itself, and you probably can lay back a little bit. But for me, I'm from engineering background, work in supply chain, but I want to do marketing. So it's totally different. And as Priyanka said, I try not to compromise getting any internship, but you have to make sure that this is what you want, because internship will be the way to get your feet into the new industry. And once you get into that industry, you would get more credential for the employer to see that you have what it takes to be working in that field. So it's not like, okay, probably I just want to get one internship in operation or anything, then I would take it first. So don't compromise. And it would help you in long term.
Okay, our next question, does Krannert provide student loans? What percentage of students get scholarship? What is the average scholarship bestowed? As far as loans, that's done through filling out the FAFSA form or going for private loans, so that's really done on your own. Krannert is not involved in that. As far as the scholarship process, that's actually done at the time of admission. So when your application is complete, it goes to admission committee for review, and the committee will look at everything, your resume, your interview, your undergrad GPA, your work experience, your test scores, all of that's taken into consideration, and then we will make decisions at that time. We do offer limited GA positions. We have 1-year GA positions, we have 2-year GA positions, and we also offer scholarships. And again, those just vary from person to person. Okay, we have another question coming. We haven't talked about TVF yet. No, we have not. Where is? Okay. One of the things we wanted to touch on, because we have an expert on our panel, one of the great opportunities that we have is an internship in India with a company called TVF. So I'll let Lauren and Mark talk about their experience and how that process works.
You want to start or want me to finish?
You can start.
Okay. So TVS internship is an amazing, again, I keep saying this, amazing opportunity. For me in particular, I want to have an international career, and having this ability to go someplace like India for 3 weeks was an amazing opportunity. So what you end up doing is you work, it's an application process first of all. So you get selected again by the faculty here at Krannert as well as TBS. And then you opt into certain projects. So for mine, I had a marketing project. You can have an ops project, you can have a finance project, you can have an HR project. It varies greatly. So what you end up doing is you start working for your project around March. Late February, early March, and you work remotely. You still contact your mentor, the person you're going to be working for over in India, until you leave in May. So in May, you arrive to India about Saturday or Sunday. Monday morning, you show up, you get a mini orientation, you hit the ground running. And so you work for 3 weeks solid straight. And at the end of that 3 weeks, you give a giant presentation to your mentor, to the higher-ups in the Hosur office, actually, and several of the other mentors. And it's a really great, profound experience because I ended up being able to travel around India for my particular project. I got to work with the dealers